The modern world is full of noise. Not just metaphorical noise, I mean literal weaponized, algorithmically engineered noise. Social media chomping at the bits for your attention, while big companies are fighting each other like a pack of hungry hyenas for the mutilated corpse that is your data. Ding, someone just liked your picture. Buzz, you just got an email for a meeting that should have remained a fucking email. Breaking news! The economy is but a pubic hair away from imploding. The world is on fire, but it's okay. Just check out this video of a bunch of capybaras fucking existing. It's constant. It's exhausting. It's a psychological car alarm that you can't seem to turn off. In the modern age of notifications and doom scrolling, silence, honest to God silence, has been treated like some kind of a moral failing. As if you're existing, but you're doing it wrong. Oh, you're not online? You're out of touch. You want peace and quiet? What are you, a fucking monk? Oh, you don't use TikTok? Are you old? No, I'm not that old. But I do like quiet. In fact, I love quiet. Quiet is my jam, the bread and butter of this whole shit sandwich that I call my life. If I'm reading and you call me multiple times, you've just won a lifetime ban from my fucking existence. If I'm drawing, my phone and smartwatch go on do not disturb because the mere sound of a notification hitting my eardrum feels like someone snuck up behind me and jabbed a rusty nail directly into my brainstem. I don't know what the latest memes are, I don't know which YouTuber is beefing with who, and I definitely don't know what Discord server leaked classified military documents for the third time this year, and frankly, I don't want to. The less I know about people's lives, the better. But herein lies the paradox. This kind of isolation, unfortunately, isn't sustainable. I need to be reachable for work. I need to be visible online if I want any of my creative projects like this YouTube channel to gain any sort of traction, which means I get pulled back into the madness of the feed, back into this algorithmic cesspool where someone, somewhere, inevitably does something so soul-crushingly inhumane that I start to wonder that if we really are God's favorite children, or just a bunch of failed evolutionary prototypes. And that's where fishing comes in. Fishing has been a part of my life for as long as I can remember. Before bills and existential dread. Back when my main concern was getting home and playing Conker's Bad Fur Day on the N64. And we're talking basic fishing here. Chucking squid guts by a pier and praying to Poseidon, or at least his regional manager, that something bites. Awkwardly holding a rod and just standing there until something happens. Eventually, I graduated from shore fishing to deep sea fishing, which sounds majestic, but it mostly involves pretending not to get heat stroke while holding an expensive stick with a piece of string attached to it. Now, this all makes sense because I live on a tiny island in the southern Caribbean. And the main thing about an island is that it's surrounded by, you guessed it, water. That's right. The thing that covers over 60% of our planet and houses horrors beyond human comprehension. Fishing has been a part of our culture, in fact a part of Caribbean culture for literal millennia. From the first tribes who landed here to the first European settlers who saw a dark-skinned person for the first time and went, "Flappin' Flotsam, what's that?" For a lot of people who live here, it's not just a hobby, but their entire way of life. So everybody on this small speck of dirt has held, at least once or twice, a fishing pole in their lives. Much like generational trauma, it's basically ingrained into our DNA, which is why me and my family went fishing often. Now, let's not romanticize this too much. Hearing this, you're probably thinking that fishing with a family was this serene family bonding moment, sharing laughter and memories with the sound of the gentle waves in the background. Sometimes it was, other times it wasn't. Now, don't let my military career fool you. I'm probably the clumsiest human being on the fucking planet. I dropped gear like it was a family tradition, I kept tripping over lines, and I could not tie a knot to save my fucking life. Every time I tried, the line would look like it was having a nervous breakdown. This, combined with the fact that some members of my family treated fishing like it was some kind of blood sport, made this normally calm and zen activity feel like a fucking hostage negotiation. The weather? cloudy with a 90% chance of being yelled at. Seriously, I remember feeling genuine dread whenever we would go fishing and I found out that a certain family member was gonna go along with us. This, along with getting older and getting other priorities, made me slowly turn away from fishing. Eventually, the years went by, and my parents, they got older, and I went out fishing less and less. I grew up, got a job, and eventually found my own place. It's nice having a place you can call your own, but eventually you find yourself with newfound stresses. Keeping up with the grind, balancing your hobbies with your responsibilities. At first you're like, "Ooh, look at me, I'm a functioning adult." And then you get nice and comfortable in this routine. And the thing about routine is, I can enjoy it for about a month or two, and then I get stuck with this overwhelming sense of,
well, this sucks.
Then one day, it hit me. Not out of nowhere, to be honest. I was sitting in my living room watching YouTube when I got recommended a video by another Aruban, no less. A guy called Dayron de Cuba. The video just showed him going out there with nothing but a fishing pole and a positive attitude. Sometimes catching fish, but sometimes catching not. Sometimes catching not, what the fuck? And then it hit me. I haven't really touched my fishing poles in literal years. And since I was now the functioning adult, I had the epiphany that I can do things on my own. So I brushed the Dorito dust off my face and headed out.
Hold me now. I'm 6 feet from the edge and I'm slipping.
I found an old spot I knew of way back when. No plan, no snacks, just a deeply confusing sense of purpose. I tie on this twitch bait I apparently remember using, and I cast it near the mangroves and started working it in. Twitch, twitch, pause, twitch, twitch, pause. After maybe about 20 minutes of doing this, it hits me. No, not a fucking fish, but I was overwhelmed by the fact that I did not have a single thought during that entire sequence. No inner dialogue between my last 2 brain cells that I haven't paid my fucking electricity bill yet. No dialogue about finances, no worrying about what was gonna happen tomorrow, this day, or the next. There were mosquitoes though. A lot of fucking mosquitoes. It was at that moment, on that mosquito-infested dock a few years ago, I found something that I didn't realize I was missing. Not nostalgia, not vitamin D, but silence. True, absolute silence. And then that sense of peace and tranquility was shattered by the feeling of something tugging at my rod. Oh fuck. Oh fuck. Suddenly all that zen and tranquility I built just fucking evaporates. My arms forgot how to arm, my brain goes a mile a minute. I sort of half-reeled, slightly more than half dragged whatever that took my bait onto the dock. There it was. The first fish I caught in literal years. It was a little barracuda. Not a monster, and definitely not something to take home as a trophy, just a sleek little bastard with murder in its eyes.
This isn't the one I caught a long time ago, but it's kind of. This one I had a personal vendetta against because it destroyed one of my hooks, but hey, decent sized cootie.
I'd like to say I gave it the dignity of a gentle release, but in reality, I was afraid he'll bite me. So I just sort of kicked him back in the water and watched him swim away. This brings me to another aspect of fishing that I like. The feeling of actually pulling a fish out of the water brings a dopamine rush that beats literally anything that you can find by looking at a screen. There's a reason why I don't do hard drugs. Because I fear that one taste of something a little too sweet will one day lead to me snorting speed off of a festival toilet. So I guess fishing is gonna have to scratch that itch for the time being. But here's the thing. Sometimes you don't really catch anything. There have been times, more times than I like to admit, that I spent hours on the coast just chucking lures and baits alike, only to come home with a bucket absolutely chock full of fuck all. Now this is coming from a position of luck. Like I said at the beginning, there are people out there who rely on fishing not only as their main source of income, but their entire way of life. A bad day of fishing for them doesn't usually mean mild disappointment. Sometimes it means no food on the table that night. That being said, there is a saying, A bad day of fishing is better than a good day at the office. And as cheesy as that sounds, whoever made that was right. I don't fish to survive. Luckily for me, I have a job that gives me just enough stability to enjoy other hobbies while still remaining somewhat financially stable. In a world where financial security is becoming more and more of a luxury. But I do fish for another reason, and that reason still matters a lot to me. I'm an ordinary guy. At the end of the day, I'm no better than anyone else my age, just trying to find some peace and some quiet in the world that values noise more and more. When any form of escapism that doesn't feed into some form of hedonistic tendency is looked down upon. In other words, a world that chastises you for being fucking boring. Shameless plug to another video right here. A long time ago, I made a choice. The simple choice to value my peace above everything else. Even if it means rejecting the norms of the times we live in. Even if it means being looked down on by my peers and even those I care about. I don't need a party. I don't need spectacle. I don't need constant stimulation. What I do need, in fact, what I think most of us need in this world that seems to be getting noisier and noisier, is just silence. Not just digital or physical silence, I mean genuine silence. Away from all of it. The grind, the news, the algorithm, the ever-growing need to be seen and heard in some way, shape, or form. All of this, I believe, can be remedied by silence. And I find my silence with a damn fishing pole in my hands. Even when I come home empty-handed, even if it means I'm wet and miserable on a boat, I still leave the water with a sense that I reclaimed something that this world just keeps trying to take away from me. We are all born with free will. Just the circumstances surrounding our lives oftentimes seems to be incongruent with what we want. In my case, I just want some peace and quiet. And that to me is oftentimes the biggest catch.